The Knicks' basic game is run and shoot, but Philadelphia does it better. Knicks are hitting them.
Test them to play a little better defense because that's the only way they can stay in this game.
And the Earl takes it off the defensive board and starts on the run down the floor. Jimmy McMillan, who hit the first shot of the game, gets it up
to go underneath him, and that's what he did.
These Knicks are working hard on defense. There's 5 guys really changing up and helping out. And Earl Monroe knocks it down. He'll stop that.
When Julius gets that low, there's nothing you can do. You hope to try and get the ball when he has it down around his waist, because once it goes from there, you're in trouble.
So the way you stop, point advantage for the New York Knicks. 3.5 to go in the first period. Bibby now playing off, trying to cordon off the lane as Monroe takes it to the basket. Continuation, the basket. They get inbounds, they bring it up slowly, look for the patent offense, look for somebody to open the shot up with a pick. Monroe goes one-on-one with Collins. Draws the shooting foul. That's tough, isn't it?
Collins can't believe it. He looked up at Murphy when he called the play, and it looked to me as if Earl Monroe might have given him a push with his elbow. Let's take a look at it now. Watch Earl. There's the elbow. He threw that right elbow. Look to me, John, into his chest.
9:03 to go in the first half. Dillon find a pick for McAdoo. Trying to get rid of that big Caldwell Jones who's harassed McAdoo throughout this playoff series. McAdoo gets a free shot. Loses the ball, but gets it back. There's a couple of 76ers on the ball all the time. Earl back to shut off what looked like an overmatch, a one-man breakaway. McMillan loses Irving. Whoa, big play by Jimmy Mack, 3:40 to play in the third period. Julius Irving fires off Collins.
Haywood, he hasn't played very much this ball game and only scored 2 points so far. Monroe fires 4-point lead, and McGinnis and Irving.
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Go School Retro NBA, episode 24, where I'll be talking about New York Knicks legend, Baltimore Bullet legend, and Philly Playground basketball legend, Earl the Pearl Monroe. If you guys haven't liked already and subscribed, make sure you do so. And tap that notification bell so you can stay updated for all the latest episodes and shorts coming out for Go School Retro NBA. And share as well. Let's get it started. Earl the Pearl Monroe was a winner on all levels. And it didn't start at a very, very early age. Earl Monroe was a part of many iconic teams, especially with the Bullets with Wes Unseld, and of course with the Knicks alongside Walt Clyde Frazier. They would form one of the most dynamic backcourts ever in NBA history, alongside Dave DeBusschere, Jerry Lucas, Willis Reed, Dick Barnett, and Phil Jackson. Those New York teams were super, super fun to watch, just like those Bullets teams were. Monroe became a playground legend in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, where he would start and grow the love for the game of basketball. But the thing a lot of people don't know about Earl Monroe was that he didn't come up as a point guard. He actually started as a center. That's something a lot of people don't know about Earl the Pearl Monroe. And his high school teammates would call him Thomas Edison because of the many moves that he created. In Monroe's South Philly neighborhood, he was actually more interested in soccer and baseball than he was in basketball. By the time he was 14 years old, he was already 6'3", and grew a love and passion for the game of basketball, playing the center position. And a lot of his shake and bake hesitation moves were from the playgrounds of asphalt. So that goes to show you, man, that he was playing on some rough turf. And I've played on asphalt before, and let me tell you something. That thing makes you a man, because that grows your game, man, a whole lot. He said when he played in the playgrounds when he was young, he had developed a fluky dookie shot, hesitating in the air long before shooting, which is not easy to do, because I tried to do that before when I was younger. Let me tell you something. That thing is something you have to master, and you got to work on, especially at a young age, to master that craft. As he was developing his game as a teenager, other players would razz him. His mother would give him a blue notebook and write down all the names of the players that razzed him. And then, as he gradually got better, she told him to erase the names throughout his game, when his game would progress. And I thought that was pretty cool, man, that his mother actually took a deep passion and actually helped him master his craft with that type of mentality, man, and that support and backing from your family, the sky's the limit for you, man. And I got to get my hats off to Earl the Pearl Monroe's mother for that notebook. After graduating from John Bartram High School, he would attend a college preparatory school affiliated with Temple University. Monroe worked as a shipping clerk in a factory while playing basketball at Leon Whitley Recreation Center in Philadelphia. Whitley played at Winston-Salem Teacher College 1953 championship team. He would encourage Earl the Pearl Monroe to attend Winston-Salem University to play for Clarence Big House Gaines. And if you guys don't know who Clarence Big House Gaines is, he's an iconic coach at Winston-Salem University who would excel and take Monroe's basketball career to higher depths. While he attended the Division II school in Winston-Salem University, Clarence Big House Gaines would take Earl the Pearl Monroe's game to another level. As a Division II school, he would be an iconic player, and he would go on to be a phenomenal, well-rounded athlete. And Gaines is a historic, iconic coach for a reason. He's actually in the Hall of Fame. Monroe would go on to average 7.1 points per game in his freshman season at Winston-Salem University. Monroe once told the story that he actually wanted to return back home to Philly, but Clarence Big House Gaines would actually get in touch with his mother and would convince him to do otherwise, where he would stay and return to Winston-Salem University. As a sophomore, Monroe returned and averaged 23 points per game. His junior year, he would average 29.8 points per game. And his senior year is where he would take off, averaging 41.5 points per game. This goes to show you the man was a walking bucket, and he was an elite passer. Just goes to show you, man, all the hard work that Earl the Pearl Monroe put into his game at a young, early age in his collegiate career playing for Winston-Salem University. During his senior year in 1966 and 1967, he would go on to score 1,329 points. Mr. Bucket Getter, Earl the Pearl Monroe, for that reason. That's a high number of points to put up, especially at a young age. Goes to show you the testament to all the hard work that Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe put into this game. Jerry McLeese, who was a writer for Winston-Salem University, will call Earl the Pearl Monroe's points Earl Pearl points, because he was just so gifted at scoring, man. You had to give him a nickname, and an iconic nickname like that would stick with him throughout the years until this day. And after being dubbed that nickname, his name would stick for years to come. Fans would chant Earl the Super Pearl, and then the nickname was born, and it stuck with him the rest of his life. 1967, Earl the Pearl Monroe would actually win the NCAA Player of the Year, leading the Rams to an NCAA Collegiate Championship. It goes to show you, man, that he was a big, iconic piece for that team and actually won them a title. And this is why he's warranted the name Earl the Pearl Monroe for a reason. With the 77-74 win in the finals versus Southwest Missouri State. In 4 seasons with the Rams, he averaged 26.7 points per game, while scoring 2,395 points in 110 games. That's beast mode right there, man. That goes to show you, man, that this guy was just tearing down records left and right. And why he was dubbed the iconic Earl the Pearl Monroe nickname for that reason. Monroe actually still is the leading scorer in intercollegiate history. So it goes to show you, man, that he just has that record for a reason. And before he would reach the NBA, he was already a legend in the intercollegiate college hoops game. Not only was he a great basketball player, he actually passed the teaching exam after he graduated with honors from Winston-Salem University. In 1967, he would try out for Team USA for the Pan American Games, but unfortunately, after the tryout, he did not make the team. Only did the committee did not select Earl the Pearl Monroe, they also didn't select the future Hall of Famer Elvin Hayes. The committee cited that his style of play was too street, too playground, and too black, which left a very, very bad taste in his mouth. And rightfully so, man, because for a committee to make those type of statements, especially to a legend like that, Earl the Pearl Monroe, or just anybody for that matter, is very disgusting. And that's just something I can't stomach, because just like Earl Monroe said, it left a bad taste in his mouth, and just hearing that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. In the 1967 draft, he would go on to be selected by the Baltimore Bullets, who eventually became the Washington Wizards, at number 2 in the 1967 draft, where he would spend 4 seasons with the Baltimore Bullets, right behind Jimmy Walker, who was selected before him by the Detroit Pistons. In 1967, he would go into the NBA and break records, where he would win the Rookie of the Year award while averaging 24.3 points per game. He would go on in the rookie year to actually score 56 points versus Los Angeles Lakers. Third highest rookie total in NBA history, knocking down records left and right. But eventually that feat will be broken by Gilbert Arenas in 2006. Him and Wes Unseld would form a dynamic duo due to his fast-paced style of play and his insane circus shots. If you guys don't know, Earl the Pearl Monroe would get out in transition and he would get buckets and assists, and he would hit some really, really tough shots, especially circus-like shots, which I touched on earlier, that he learned in the playgrounds of his Philadelphia neighborhood. On February 6, 1970, he would break a record, scoring 13 points in overtime, which would later be broken by Gilbert Arenas once again. The 1968-1969 season, he would average 25 points, 4 assists, and 3 boards a game. The Bullets would finish with a 57-25 record under head coach Gene Shue that season, while capturing the Eastern Division title. Unfortunately, the Bullets that season would be swept in the first round after receiving a bye by the New York Knickerbockers. In the 1969-70 season, the following year, the Bullets would finish with a record of 50-32. But unfortunately, Earl Monroe would not make an All-Star team that season, despite putting up numbers of 23 points per game, 4 assists, and 3 boards. Oscar Robertson, Tom Van Arsdale, and Walt Clyde Frazier and Flynn Robertson were the guards that were selected that season. The Bullets that season were ousted once again by the New York Knickerbockers, 4-3. Monroe would average 24 points, 4 assists, and 2 boards that season. Following season under Coach Gene Shue, the 1970 and 71 season, the Baltimore Bullets would finish with a 42-40 record and capturing the Central Division title. That season, the Bullets eliminated the Philadelphia 76ers 4-3, and then defeated the Knicks, finally, 4-3, while reaching the 1971 NBA Finals. Monroe would average 23 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds in that series against the Philadelphia 76ers. In the series against the Knicks, he averaged 24 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. Game 7 victory against the Knicks, 93-91. Earl the Pearl Monroe put up 26 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. In the 1971 iconic NBA Finals, they will go up against the Milwaukee Bucks powerhouse, where they would get swept by Bob Dandridge, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the Big O in the NBA Finals. Monroe that series had a pretty good series. He had 16 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds that series. Unfortunately, in a 4-0 sweep by the Milwaukee Bucks iconic championship roster and iconic championship team. Coach Gene Shue would make a statement saying that Monroe would be able to put the ball in his hands and he would do some wondrous things. He also said that he had the best ability of basketball skill and sportsmanship. 328 games with the Baltimore Bullets, Monroe averaged 23 points, 3 assists, and 4 boards a night. Following his iconic career with the Bullets, things would go south. Monroe's agent basically went up to the front office and informed that his client would like to be traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, Chicago Bulls, or his hometown, the Philadelphia 76ers. 71-72 season, 4 games in, he would actually travel to the ABA where he would request a transfer, and he basically wanted to play for the Indiana Pacers. Due to a salary dispute with the Bullets management, he began the campaign without a contract. Monroe's trade request became an ultimatum. He was suspended by the team in October of that season. Mike Riordan, Dave Stallworth, and an undisclosed amount of cash. Monroe would eventually sign a contract and will be sent to the New York Knickerbockers, where he would start another illustrious career with my hometown team, the New York Knicks. And as soon as Earl the Pearl Monroe stepped foot in New York, they were automatically dubbed the Rolls Royce with iconic point guard Walt Clyde Frazier. A lot of people don't remember is that when he first arrived, there were questions that they could coexist. But let me tell you something. They were put on notice because they ended up forming one of the best backcourts ever in NBA history of all time. This will be the start of major deep runs by the New York Knicks because he already came into a loaded team with Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, Phil Jackson, and iconic, great of all time, Willis Reed, R.I.P., who I'll be doing a tribute for soon, and all the other legends that I just mentioned. And let's not to mention a player I covered previously, Jerry Lucas, and fallback baby, Dr. Dick Barnett. This team was loaded. from top to bottom, and they would start a numerous amount of runs. In his first 3 games with the New York Knicks, Monroe averaged 21 points per game. In his first 60 games with the New York Knicks, Earl Monroe would struggle, putting up numbers of 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist per game. Despite his early struggles and adjustments to the New York Knicks, the Knicks would actually defeat the Bullets in the playoffs 4-2, and they would go on to defeat the Celtics 4-1 to reach the 1972 NBA Finals versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Monroe averaged 15 points per game and 3 assists in the Bullets series. In the Celtics series, he averaged 13 points and 3 assists per game. Fortunately, in the 1972 Finals, they ran into another powerhouse, the Los Angeles Lakers, where they would fall 4-1 after winning the first game. They would lose 4 straight. And if you remember, those Laker teams were no slouch. They had Wilt Chamberlain, and they also had Mr. Logo, Jerry West. So it was just too much for them to overcome. And as great as the Knicks teams were, they were overmatched, and they would actually fall 4-1 after winning the first game, mind you. Monroe averaged 6 points per game and 2 assists in that series. In the 1972-1973 season, the Knicks would repeat defeat and reach the NBA Finals under legendary coach Red Holzman, who I'll be doing a tribute for, especially when I do for the coaches in a future episode. And let me tell you, this Knicks team, once again, they made it to the promised land, but they would actually come through this time. Knicks went 57-25 that season, in which Monroe put up 15 points per game, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds that season. The Knicks defeated the Bullets once again, 4-1, and defeated the Boston Celtics 4-3 to reach the 1973 NBA Finals, to which would enthrall another rematch with the Los Angeles Lakers. Guess what? The New York Knicks would come out victorious 4-1, getting the job done with the iconic backcourt of Earl the Pearl Monroe and Walt Clyde Frazier, dubbed the Rolls Royce backcourt. And they were no slouches. Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, Jerry Lucas, and mind you, they had 5 players in double figures that series. So it goes to show you that all these iconic players were just getting buckets, and this is what enthralled them into bringing home the illustrious NBA title that still sits up in the banners to this day at Madison Square Garden. And Earl the Pearl Monroe was one of the big reasons why they actually were able to bring home the illustrious championship to New York City, which still sits in my heart to this day. Earl the Pearl Monroe averaged 16 points and 4 assists in that series. If you remember, man, the pictures after they won that title, which is iconic, in the locker room with Dick Barnett, Bill Bradley, and all these other NBA greats that came into the New York Knicks organization that season, Jerry Lucas, Phil Jackson in that locker room popping champagne. I still remember it like if it was yesterday, man. I watched the videos religiously because unfortunately I wasn't born at that time. But I done a lot of extensive research and looked at the clips and the videos and the posters and the iconic T-shirts that they're on. And just to see the mark that team left in NBA greats histories, especially with iconic teams, it goes to show you, man, the hard work that all these guys put into winning that illustrious championship against the powerhouse Los Angeles Lakers team. In the 1973-74 season, after following up the championship season, the Knicks will go on to beat the Bullets once again, but eventually will fall to the Eastern Conference champion Boston Celtics. Monroe put up 14 points, 3 assists, and 2 boards in that series. Monroe averaged 14 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds in that regular season. Next 4 seasons with the Knicks, those 2 seasons he averaged 20 points per game, followed by 19 points per game and 17 points per game, before injuries started slowing down Earl the Pearl Monroe's career. And mind you, the iconic backcourt of Frazier and Monroe still sits in the 50th NBA all time because they were the most iconic backcourts ever to touch the NBA hardwood. And they just were that most iconic duo. And they were so fun to watch, man. And just for them to sit up in NBA history and to be enshrined goes to show you, man, how iconic the two were. In 1980, due to chronic knee issues that hampered him throughout his career, he retired from the game of basketball. In 9 regular seasons with the Knicks and 592 games, Monroe averaged 16 points a game, 3 assists, and 2 boards. Monroe played in 926 regular season games for the New York Knicks, scoring 17,454 points, following up that with 3,594 assists, while maintaining shooting percentages of 46%. He will go on to finish his career with 18 points, while pulling down 3 assists and 3 boards a game. He will go on to score 1,000 points in 9 of his 13 NBA seasons, including 25 points per game in the 1968-69 season, which would be his career high. In 2021, The Athletic released top 75 NBA players of all time, and Earl Monroe, they would put him at 58th greatest of all time. So this is indicative of the work that Earl Monroe put into the game, because not only is he an iconic Knick and an iconic Bullet player, but he's also number 58, and I'm talking about all-time list. That's just magnificent, man. It goes to show you all the hard work that Mr. Monroe put into the game. Monroe once stated that he still watches the game today, but he hasn't seen a player that reminded him of him and the way he played the NBA game. Bill Bradley described Earl Monroe as the ultimate playground player. Earl Monroe was also quoted as saying that when people remember him, he wants them to remember him as a player that excited the fans and also excited himself in the game of basketball. Monroe has a son named Rodney and a daughter named Maya, who coached at the high school level and the collegiate level. Monroe was also commissioner of the 1985 USBL, which is the United States Basketball League, which was formed in 1985. In 2012, Monroe launched a candy company called NBA Candy Store. Throughout the years, Monroe has served as a commentator for the Madison Square Garden Network and as a commissioner through the New Jersey Urban Development Corporation. He also served as presidential counsel for physical health and fitness and the Crown Heights Youth Collective, the Literacy Assistance Fund, and the Harlem Junior Tennis Program. He's received a ton of honors for all these community activities, and which goes to show you he was the man of the people, Earl Monroe. He received the Harlem Inspirational Professional Award, Most Outstanding Model for the American Youth, the YMCA Citizenship Award, and Big Apple Sportsman's of the Year Award. Monroe also has been a spokesman alongside his legendary teammate Walt Clyde Frazier for the American Heart Association. In 2005, Monroe opened a restaurant called Earl Monroe's Restaurant and Pearl Club. However, since then, Earl the Pearl has renounced his name to the restaurant and the licensing to it, and now it's named the River Room. Earl Monroe, his sister, and brother have all been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Monroe is a spokesperson for the Merck Journey, which is a referable program for people, diabetes-friendly restaurants. Also refers diabetes-friendly restaurants of the month. And if you guys don't know him, Monroe's a jack of all trades. He actually owns a record company called Reverse Spin Records, which features pop, dance, and hip-hop R&B records. And he is currently a featured artist, Sierra Core, under the record label. And if you guys don't know, Earl Monroe was featured in the movie He Got Game, as Denzel Washington was played the father of Jesus Shuttlesworth, which was nicknamed after Jesus, which was Earl Monroe's nickname, Black Jesus, which was played by Ray Allen in that movie. And it goes to show you, man, he's not only a man in the basketball court and in the business industry doing community work, and he's also featured in movies as well. And there's nothing that Earl Monroe doesn't do off the court, man. It just shows you, man, this guy is a jack of all trades, man. Monroe is actually a member of the Groove 5 Groove. If you guys don't know, man, he also had an iconic shoe in 1980 and 81 under Jordache, which at the heel of the shoe, it had his nickname, Pearl, on it. In 1971, Earl Monroe was inducted into the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Hall of Fame.
State, Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I didn't know this many people were out there. I can't turn around anymore. Well, it's nice to be here. I've thinking about this day for a long time. A lot of times you get inducted into different halls of fame and you take it for granted, but this one's special. This is special because it's a small college hall of fame. So many times, you know, as small colleges, we get overlooked and nobody actually knows who you are or what you did. You know, some of us have a little fortune, whereas we go on further and people get to know who we are. But it's important that everybody gets to know and have the recognition so people can know that they are great as well. I've shared this, and I've heard other guys say it, but I do share this with all my teammates. My senior year, we had a great run, and it's kind of strange because, you know, we never thought that we would be able to win a national championship, but here I am now getting inducted to the Small College Hall of Fame right here in the city where we won the national championship. So it's like coming full circle. I have some friends out here, and a lot of times when you get accolades and things like that, you need to be around people that you know as well. And I want to just introduce some friends of mine who's come along. My college teammate, Ernest Brown. And we have some other college people out here as well. His young lady as well, Lisa Gaines, Coach Gaines' daughter, and my mentor, Sonny Hill from Philadelphia, Mr. Basketball. I appreciate the recognition, and this will live on with me for a long while. I was listening, let me just give this, I was listening earlier and hearing about the criteria of, being elected. And one of the criteria is having been out of basketball for 8 years, or 5 or 8 years. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, well, everyone is being inducted tonight obviously has been out of basketball for more than 8 years. In this class, I guess they want to get us before we go. So, but it's you know, again, it's a great feeling to be recognized. You never get used to being recognized. You know, some of us are real cool about it and things of that nature. I've always taken things on a pretty even keel. But inside, I'm churning and saying, wow, I made it. And I just want to say thank you for coming. John, thank you for dreaming this up. And hopefully we'll see some of you younger guys that'll be able to come up here as well and get this wonderful medal. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
On March 1st, 1986, Earl the Pearl Monroe's iconic number 15 jersey was retired by the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. And it goes to show you, man, that the work that man put in for the organization, and seeing that every time I go to a New York Knicks games, it just brings me back to memories, man. It's so nostalgic, and it shows that all the hard work and championship that he brought into the Knicks organization, and that grittiness that he brought to the organization. And I'm so proud that Earl the Pearl Monroe was a New York Knick, man, because he's just a legend, man, to this day, man. I can't stop thinking about what he did for the organization and what he brought, man, to the team, man. It's just that he was just a phenomenal basketball player, man. I hope the one day to reach him, and I know he's watching this right now, and I put all my blood, sweat, and tears for this, because to me, you're one of my top favorite Knicks of all time, man. And guess what, man? Not only did he do that, in 1990, he was enshrined into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. And to make it even better, in 1990, he was named one of the top 50 greatest NBA players of all time. On December 1st, 2007, his number 10 was retired by the Washington Wizards. In 2005, an American Basketball Association team was named after Earl the Pearl Monroe, the Baltimore Pearls, in dedication to Earl the Pearl Monroe. So it goes to tell you, man, that not only is he an NBA legend, all-time great, top 50, but a team actually named after him. Hats off to Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe. In 2017, his alma mater, Winston-Salem University, retired his number 10 in the rafters. So it goes to show you that he's a staple in a lot of arenas, and not only in the NBA, but at the college level. Just goes to show you, man, all the hard work that Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe put in, that he's remembered to this day. by a ton of different teams and college teams and NBA teams. In 2021 as well, Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe was inducted into the NBA 75th anniversary team. Just goes to show you all the hard work that he's put in. He's knocking down top 50. He's on all-time great lists. And just to show you, man, all the hard work that Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe put into this game, you got to love him, man. So this is going to wrap up Go School Retro NBA episode 24. Earl the Pearl Monroe. This one is iconic, man. I hope it reaches you, and I hope you enjoy it, man. You, your family, your friends, and loved ones, because you're in the heart of New York Knicks fans to this day. Not only to us, to the NBA. You've been a model for children and aspiring athletes throughout the world, and all your off-the-court work hasn't gone unnoticed. And forever, you'll always be a New York Knick. Love you, Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe, and everything you brought to the game. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Until next time, I'll see you all again. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And tap that notification bell so you can stay up to date on Go School Retro NBA and all the episodes. I have a lot of stuff cooking throughout the year and next year. Thank you all for tuning in. One love.